Welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telesol, just a touch. Mark Auto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu and Chevy cars. Mark Auto Parts Ghana with you for the long run. And UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, let's go. Coming up in this edition. Bloody weekend leaves 8 people dead and many, including a 3-year-old, battling for their lives. We're live from Winneba, plus the uproar at Adenta following the death of a 22-year-old woman knocked and killed on the Adenta Medina highway while crossing the road.
Almost everybody in Adenta, Medina and its environment are worried, they are angry and they are agitated.
Also, new KNUST Council must not include old members. Government maintains issues at the university can only be resolved if fresh members are nominated onto new council.
Government's position on the membership of the new council is that individuals who sat on the old council ought not to be on the new council.
Government yet to post additional teachers to some senior high schools across the country for the double track system, with just 5 days for students on the go track to report.
If government brings the new teachers, fair enough. But we have plan B.
The salary is the same. As the green is going home now, I'm not going to have a vacation. And that would continue for the rest of the year.
We'll bring you more as this week's agenda assesses the success and otherwise of the double track system in sports.
As we build up to the African Women's Championship, Black Queens coach Bashir Hayford insists his team will be ready for the tournament despite their 3-2 defeat to Zambia in the trial game over the weekend.
We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. It was one bloody weekend that added at least 8 more people to the national road fatality statistics in the central and greater Accra regions. 7 people were killed near Winneba, while here in Accra, a 22-year-old woman was run over by a number of vehicles at the Adenta Medina highway, where footbridges are yet to be completed. But at the heart of these incidents is what appears to be willful negligence on the part of the people paid to fix the problem. Let's start from the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital, where a 3-year-old boy is battling for his life after suffering multiple fractures in that accident that killed 7.
Currently, stable. Fractures currently we are unconscious. I here refer to 37 and now callable. But no ambulance, no family member around. You call national ambulance, we are not getting them. Say Accra here, say ambulance, I bet me then call 37 and now callable.
Now, it's been almost 20 hours and an ambulance is yet to get to the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital to transfer this child to Accra for treatment. Earlier on the AM show on Multi TV, the director of the National Ambulance Service, Professor Ahmed Zakaria, explained to Kojo Yankson why the 3-year-old boy couldn't get an ambulance.
What happens is that currently we have very few of the vehicles in commission in the city. So the same vehicles provide care for pre-hospital services at the same time for the inter-facility transfer. So it may so well happen that at the time that they might have called for the ambulance, the few available ones might have been engaged in other equally important emergencies. So definitely after this discussion, call the dispatch center and find out really what the issues are.
So how soon can you tell us that this boy will receive an ambulance?
Immediately after this discussion, I'll call the dispatch center and really look for the next available vehicle and dispatch it.
Then let me not take any more of your time. A boy's life is in danger. Professor Ahmed Zakaria.
Please, do you know the name of the boy?
We don't have those details, but there is only one boy at the Winneba Accident and Trauma Center who is awaiting an ambulance. There's only one. So I hope you won't have too much difficulty in locating him.
The Director of the National Ambulance Service, the Professor Ahmed Zakaria, speaking to my colleague Kojo Yankson. Now, about an hour ago, doctors at the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital at Winneba told Joy News there's still no ambulance to move this little boy to the 37 Military Hospital for emergency care. Let's go live on the line now and speak to Dr. Douglas Amponsa. He's a medical officer at the hospital and joins us live on the line. Thank you very much for your time here on the Midday News, Dr. Amponsa. So has the ambulance arrived yet?
Yes. So for now, as I said earlier on, the child is en route to Kolbu.
And do we know the latest on his condition as we speak?
Yes, the condition has improved drastically this morning. After yesterday, he was fully unconscious. He could not even move any part of his body. So we were on him for the whole night. But after this morning, he has gained some level of consciousness. He could move, he could touch you back. But he's a child, and we are managing as a case of head injury. So because of that, you need a neurologist assessment. And for that matter, you have made arrangements, and the child is on the way to Kolbu.
We spoke to Dr. Zakaria, the Director of National Ambulance Service, just about 8:59 thereabout. What time exactly does this ambulance arrive?
Okay, the time right now is 12. The ambulance was around earlier on, but as I said, a bit of station, and then it's important than everything. So we're still trying to stabilize. So the ambulance set up, let's say, about 30 minutes, 1 hour ago.
Okay, but have you been able to trace this boy's parents yet?
Yes, this morning an uncle was around, and then before the ambulance left, the father also came.
So just so we are clear, this hospital, the Winneba Hospital, is without an ambulance?
This one is the Trauma and Specialist Hospital. See, there are two hospitals in Winneba.
Exactly.
We have the Municipal Hospital and the Trauma Hospital.
So the trauma center, that we are talking about.
The casualties were sent to the Municipal Hospital. We received 4 live patients after yesterday. After this morning, apart from the child who we have referred to Kolebo, the other 3 are all stable. So
this trauma center we are talking about has no ambulance?
You see, the ambulance has other missions. At times, a case will come and then the ambulance will be on a mission elsewhere.
Okay. Dr. Douglas Amponsa is a medical officer at the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital. Meanwhile, at the Winneba Government Hospital, this is happening. Sounds of persons breaking down upon seeing bodies of their relatives who were involved in yesterday's accident. Let's speak to my colleague Richard Kojonyako, who's been monitoring the situation closely. So Richard, how's the general mood at the hospital? We can hear some wailing there, but what really is currently going on?
So those we had wailing relatives who would come to the hospital to check whether their family members are either part of the dead or the living. And it's really a sad scene as they broke down in tears, and we can hear them at the background. At the Winneba Municipal Hospital, 2 persons are still in coma, 18 are on admission at the moment, and medical officials say the 18 are responding to treatment, and they don't intend transferring them to a bigger facility, and they are managing them at this very particular hospital.
You heard my colleague, Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojonyako. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Away from that rather bloody incident during this weekend, founder of International Central Gospel Church, ICGC, Pastor Mensa Otabil, and the ICGC Church and 13 others have been accused of fraud. The receivers of defunct Capital Bank say their willful breach of banking regulations caused the collapse of the bank. The Bank of Ghana, in August 2017, approved the takeover of the Capital Bank by the GCB Bank due to its insolvency. The receivers want the shareholders to be ordered to recover monies in excess of 400 million Ghana cedis. My colleague Raymond Akwa joins me in the studio with details. So Raymond, first run us through some of the shareholders dragged to the court by the receivers.
So we do know that William Atuesian is the founder of the bank. Dr. Mensa Otabil, you mentioned there. Oheneba Osei Akoto is also part of the bank. Stephen Encho was at a point in time a shareholder of the bank, and Kingsley Atagansa, a very close associate of William Atuesian, is also one of those dragged to court. Now, Otabil and Associates, different from the individual Dr. Mensa Otabel, is also on the list as those dragged to court. The International Central Gospel Church has also been dragged to court as a separate entity in this particular case. Now, Kojo AC has also served on the board before. Isaac Osa Thompson Mensa, John Kofi Mensa, and you should know him. He is currently the ADB boss. He's actually one of those that have been dragged to court. Now, Edwin Obindonko is also on the list. Fizrad Odonko, who was CEO of the bank as of the time the takeover happened, and Amadou Montia, Kofi Kwakwa, Frances Edumante, she left the board somewhere in 2014. And
she's still being dragged
yes. Isaac Osafom Mensa is also part of those who have been dragged to court in this matter.
Now, a part of the rate talks about fraud and gives some details. What are the actions of these shareholders the receivers believe constitute fraud?
Now, specifically, the plaintiff says that these defendants, the 16 I did mention, were engaged in a scheme of fraud on one, its customers, two, regulators, being the BOJ and the other institutions, and three, the public. It gives the details as such that the defendants approved the purchase of commercial paper for related companies without recourse to internal policies and or banking regulations. It proceeded to say that the instruments described by the defendants as commercial paper were in fact, and to their knowledge, not qualified as such, and a scheme to siphon funds unlawfully from Capital Bank. So it also proceeds that several commercial papers were purportedly purchased on behalf of the plaintiff company, but the 12th defendant, who specifically is Fizrad Odonko, the MD, had claimed that his signature had been forged to give authenticity to the purported purchases. So this and many others are the ones they are raising against the purchase of sale. In fact, they also proceed to talk about the record showing that as a direct result of the misgovernance of the defendants and the willful breaches of the banking regulations as of December 31, 2015, the plaintiff had a cumulative amount of approximately 482 million as impaired and or non-existent investment, which amount include 52.3 million misrepresented to the Bank of Ghana as required capital for the grant of the requisite banking services.
So what reliefs are they seeking?
Specifically, they are asking the court to first and foremost retrieve the monies for them. I mean, they are saying that they want a declaration that the defendants are in breach of their fiduciary duties to the plaintiff under the Companies Code 1963. Now, they specifically select that an order directed at the first person, which is William Atuesian, the second person, which is Dr. Mensa Otabel, the third person in this case being Stephen Enchil, the 12th person being Fizrad Odonko, the 13th person being Amadou Montia, the 14th person being Kofi Kwakwa, and also the 15th persons being Frances Edumante. This direction that they jointly and severally be made to make payment of compensatory damages to the plaintiff in this case. There's also an order which is directed at first the first person to pay 468 million. That's William Atuesian. Again, there's an order which is directed as the third person in this particular case, which
looks
is,
like a number of reliefs they are seeking there.
Osei Akoto to also pay an amount of 2.4 million and 36 million separately.
We'll definitely get to delve deeper into it in our subsequent bulletins. But just before I let you off, Raymond, we understand another rate has been issued by PwC relating to the parent company of defunct UT Bank.
Certainly, UT Holdings Limited and also UT Logistics Ghana Limited. This is a very direct one. It says that these are Ghanaian companies and that the people who have taken over UT Bank as receivers are insisting that as of August 14, 2017, the defendants had an outstanding amount of 51,300,334 and 8,600,000 in United States dollars, representing the value of investments placed with the first investment. So we're saying that they placed two investments, one with the UT Holdings and the second one with UT Logistics. It questions the procedure for the placement of the investment, but it says that these investments have not been paid. So they should be paid with interest specifically. That's why they've been dragged to court.
Raymond Akwa there joining us here with details of those writs and the reliefs that is being sought by those who have filed this case. I didn't intend to be a bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, we still have to return return to our earlier stories on how road accidents claimed 8 lives between last Friday and Sunday. The Medina-Adenta Highway continues to claim more lives despite strong advocacy to get its footbridges completed. More than 190 people have been killed in the last 1 year on that stretch alone. The latest was the death of a 22-year-old apprentice who was knocked down on Friday. Super Morning Show host Daniel Darcy was there and has come through with his report.
Death is a terrible thing. It's even more painful when you feel it could have been avoided. For the youth of the Medina-Adenta area, the passing of 22-year-old apprentice nail technician Atta was the straw that broke the camel's back. Atta is the 188th person to have lost her life while attempting to cross the Medina-Adenta highway. After she was hit by a car which ran off quickly, another vehicle ran over her almost immediately. The witnesses and residents were distraught. They were up in arms immediately. 2 days after the horrific incident, we've come to Adenta to speak to residents who have been agitating for the completion of the footbridges for months. At the bingo spot, which is the usual meeting place for the group, tensions are still rife and emotions are high. One of the leaders of the group, who is Assembly Member for Adenta West, Rashid Osebunsu, says the demonstration which occurred on Friday was spontaneous but necessary.
Almost everybody in Adenta, Medina and its environment are worried, they are angry and they are agitated. Now they believe that something that started small, they believe that everybody should get involved so that government listens to our plea.
For group member Michael Nimate, Atta is just one of the 3 close friends he has lost to the dangerous highway.
She told me she's going to buy food at SDA and never return. But even before then, I've already lost 2 siblings, which I buried them, I think, a month ago on the same highway. The first 2 siblings that I have are very wonderful people, very energetic and young guys who are even helping the community in terms of any other thing you could call them for. But then if we should keep on losing young guys like this, the first one is 32, second one 32. This lady who was killed just 2 days ago, or let's say 3 days ago, is 22. So imagine the youth that we are losing. Look at me now. I feel like I'm empty, alone, walking without anybody.
Another member, University of Ghana lecturer Dr. Samuel Kojokofi, seems to say what's on the minds of many of the residents. Government must act.
Adenta is part of Ghana. People in Adenta are Ghanaians. We enjoy the same constitutional civil right or whatever benefit the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana enjoys every citizen to enjoy. And I don't think it's so much or it's too costly for the government to construct a speed ramp, to fix traffic light, or even to start by completing few of the footbridges. So we are appealing. It's not our intention to walk in the streets or to put the government on alert, but it is our intention to ensure the safety of the resident and the safety of every Ghanaian who crosses all the roads.
Daniel Daze, Joy News, Adenta.
Now, the highway runs through huge residential areas. As a result, thousands of children cross it each day to school. Over the last year, many of these children have been killed while crossing. Listen to this eyewitness's account of how a 12-year-old boy was knocked down while on his way to school.
That morning, as I saw him being lifted almost lifelessly off the ground into the pickup that had knocked him, it was too much for me. I mean, what kills me was seeing he was in his uniform with a bag on his back. And I'm like, where is the mother? He had sent him off to go to school, and she's thinking, my boy is gone. I could only pray that he made it.
But for those of you who live in that area, officials say it will take another bloody year to fix the staircases to be attached to the footbridges. Yakun Kuri is the director of bridges at the Ghana Highways Authority.
And when the procurement process is completed, which we expect this month, the contractor will move.
Are we going to make any efforts to fast track this? Again, recognizing the fact that every week that this delays is another possible death.
We are using the fastest route possible in the procurement process. So we are going for the sole sourcing method. And this would have to go to the PPA for approval, and that is not in our control. By end of next year, we should have all 6 completed. But at various stages of this period, we would have some completed. So we are not going to wait till the end of next year to have all 6. We would have them within 6 months. We could have the first one, but we expect that by the end of the year we should have all 6 bridges, all 6 ramps. Yes.
Director of Bridges, Ghana Highways Authority, Yakun Kuri. But there's a lot of public anger following this story. Here's one listener who called into the Super Morning Show today.
This thing directly to the presidency. How can these people be dying and they don't care? And when they sick, they fly their parliament members to Europe for their treatment. Look, this country, we should demonstrate. We should, look, I'm Frank Osumo. I'll be coming to the demonstration myself.
Some public anger there on this Denta Highway. We'll still get some answers for you, for those of you who live in that area. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. When we return, new KNUST Council must not include old members. Government maintains issues at the university can only be resolved if fresh members are nominated onto new council.
The government's position on the membership of the new council is that individuals who sat on the old council ought not to be on the new council.
And government yet to post additional teachers to some senior high schools across the country for the double track system, with just 5 days for students on the Go Track to report. We'll be right back after the break.
Let's go,
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Time for sports. Benedict Owusu, let's go.
Yes, Samefa, this is for you. It's for all of us, actually. In exactly 2 weeks from now, there will be the African Women's Championship here in Ghana, and the Black Queens, actually, they've been tasked to host and win a target many believe it is achievable following their impressive display at the last edition of the tournament. Now, the Queens are currently on a training tour, fine-tuning preparations ahead of the tournament on Saturday. They lost 3-2 to the Shipolopolo of Zambia in their first round game. Coach Bashir Hayford believes his team will be ready before the tournament kickstarts.
The approach was very bad, but at the same time, it was a very good training session for us. It is again an eye-opener for us to judge the standard of the East African teams vis-a-vis the West African teams. And so we are here for a training tour. We are coming to play Kenya too. See the standard here too, and then when we go back home, we'll make amends and see how we'll approach the tournament.
All right, that's coach of the Black Queens team, Bashir Hayford. Now, the Queens are currently in Kenya and will play their Kenyan counterparts on Wednesday in a second trial game. And more on that plus other stories on the Joy Sports Track at 1. We are looking at the possible return of the Ayus to the Black Stars team for the AFCON qualifier against Ethiopia.
Thank you, Benedict. Now, government's position on the reconstitution of the governing council of KNUST is that individuals who sat on the old council ought not to be on the new one to be constituted. That's according to Information Minister Kojo Ponkruma, who says members of the dissolved council are party to the matter and should not be judges in their own cause. Mr. Ponkruma believes a fresh council altogether will do a thorough job in attempts to resolve the issues, and those found to have played a role in last month's disturbances will be brought to book. He's been addressing a press conference.
The government's position on the membership of the new council is that individuals who sat on the old council ought not to be on the new council. The reason is this: the old council is a party to the impasse that took place on the KNUST campus. Just as the actions of students, student leaders, school management, and the council will be subjects of the full investigation when the university is reopened, it is important to ensure that a council that is put in place has the freedom of hand, etc., to superintend that exercise. So the specific persons who constituted that old council cannot therefore preside, in our opinion, over the matters in which their own decisions and conduct will be a subject. It is in this spirit that government and some other groups have already indicated new nominees. Now, it's important to know that in the matter of group seats on the council, the K University Act requires representatives from those groups. It does not ask for specific individuals. Government is also not interested in deciding which specific individuals that they nominate. We are not interested in that.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah. Meanwhile, members of the Teachers and Education Workers Union at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have resolved to hold series of meetings to pile pressure on government to expedite processes in reconstituting the governing council of the university.
Now you come na chance na kwan eswe wo in or reconstitute but abayan fama before so na abayan ji atun say odbeba edufia da na abayan kan asem foforo enu nti no se say ye ka say council wo university ye ke university ntumi nya adwuma ne sadia ene echewu onum so aye major stake.
We are here because government was supposed to bring its representatives on Friday to enable the new council to be reconstituted. Government had agreed to this, but they said something else on Friday.
The council na bana council na twa ye adwuma nti na ma ne ye wai no ya tin e from official no be inform me tell say e no crese government dey aye dey e dey say nipa number in fact so hwe name say ba ye krampo na any letter head be so e wo plain sheet bi so e na e ba ye.
Charles Arthur is chairman KNUST. Now on Joy News Agenda, we focus on the success challenges faced by the implementation of the double track system in the country's secondary schools. Nancy Emefajadosi brings us today's report from Accra High Senior High School.
Form 1 students here at the Accra High Senior High School are busily taking their mid-semester exams. They are supposed to have covered almost all the topics for the semester.
We couldn't complete the topics we were supposed to teach them.
Alex Akotodapa is one of the Form 1 teachers here. At the beginning of the semester, he and his colleagues were eager to work hard to ensure that the new director from government would succeed. Mr. Dapa has tried, but hasn't been able to cover enough topics for the semester.
Supposed to cover about 4 topics, but I was able to do only 2.
Mr. Dapa may have felt the impact, and so did these students.
It is very difficult for my classmates who are very slow when it comes to learning or grasping things quickly.
It worries me a lot because sometimes I think maybe we won't be able to finish our syllabus.
But the story of the double track system has not been all gloomy.
We are enjoying the last academic year. We admitted about 516 students, but this year we have admitted 1,368 students, more than double.
More students means there is a critical need to employ more teachers. But with only 5 days for the Gold Track student to arrive, this has not happened, at least at the Accra High Senior High School.
If government brings the new teachers, fair enough, but we have plan B.
Nancy Emefajadosi with that report. And it's time to check out what's trending on social media. Mapitso, what's trending?
MFR, it's Monday and people are talking about hashtag Monday motivation, and at SD Briner says happiness will come to you when it comes from you. Success will be yours when you choose to take responsibility for making it. So hashtag Monday motivation. And this one is from at John McGrath, who says we can't solve problems with the same level of thinking that created them. Hashtag Monday motivation. The last tweet I'm going to take is from at Vex King, who says remember, it's okay to say no, to tell the truth, and to believe in different dreams. Hashtag Monday motivation.
And just before we go, I think it's a good time to cross over to Maxwell Agbagba for the very latest. We're told that the Prince of Wales has been addressing young entrepreneurs, but away from that also, his wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, has also been interacting with some women at the British Council. And my colleague Araba Kumsin was there interacting with those women and joins us with the very latest. What can you report, Araba? Hello, Araba. Hello, Araba.
Hello, MFA.
If you can hear me, what can you report from where you are?
So, MFA, we are at the Ghana International School where the First Lady has been celebrating the Ghanaian winners of the Queen's Commonwealth essay competition. So the competition is open to all schools in the Commonwealth, and this year's winners were drawn from Ghana International School, VRA International School, and Roman Ridge School. So all of these children, numbering more than 60, received prizes. But earlier, the First Lady was joined by the Duchess of Cornwall at the British Council, where a panel discussion on gender equality was held.
Araba Kumsin there, of course, will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories: bloody weekend leaves 8 people dead and many, including a 3-year-old, battling for their lives. Government is yet to post additional teachers to some senior high schools across the country for the double track system. I am Emefa Apau. When you log on to myjoyonline.com, you get more news. Thanks for your company.